Where we going?
Revelation 12, verse 1. So now we done dealt with the first time we were in the wilderness. Like I said, it's a lot of information. Lord permit, we'll deal with it again in another fashion. And the errors that our fathers made the first time. So we can see that now if we're dealing with coming into the wilderness for this generation, that we make not the same error. Understood? So now let's look at Revelation 12 and 1. And let's begin. He said, there appeared a great wonder in the heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Now this is the symbol that Joseph had. Remember, we dealt with this one night. Just on a quick shot to show y'all something. Look at Genesis 36. We're just going to show you, verse 9. We're going to show you this, that Joseph had the same dream. You have some people that were actually literally looking for this in the sky. You know what I'm saying? I thank God he gave me enough sense to know not to actually be looking for this in the sky. Not mad at those who did, if he hadn't gave them the understanding not to, but I'm glad that he did. Gave me enough sense not to. Verse 7 actually. Or verse 6. He said unto them, here I pray you this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we are binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaves arose and stood upright, and behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisances to my sheaves. And his brethren said unto me, shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? But they hated him yet more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told his brethren, behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and moon and 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and his brethren, and his father rebuked him and said unto them, what is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come down and bow ourselves to thee to the earth? So as you know, sun and moon symbolizing Jacob and his wives. Also the sun and moon symbolizing the sun and Jerusalem. Because you know Jacob only had 11 sons. Joseph had 2 sons in Egypt, which is where 12 come from. Because they were brought in as well. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you see 11 stars in Genesis and 12 stars in Revelation. You know what I'm talking about? Because on this time here, now we're dealing with the sun and Jerusalem and them 12 stars, because now we're talking about coming back home. That's what we're going to get ready to deal with. You know what I'm talking about? So let's look at verse 2. Look at verse 2. And it says, and she being delivered with child cried, travailing in her pain to be delivered. So, we're going to get to that verse in a second. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and beheld a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, and said, we're not dealing with Satan today. We know that's dealing with Satan and his fallen angels. Screw Satan right now. Verse 5. And she, straight up, we're not dealing with Satan right now. We know Satan's a chump. We know that he came to deceive the whole world. We know that he's behind these governments upon the face of the earth, that he's their back and he's their head. We know that angels fell with him. We know this. You know what I'm talking about? But no, we got to read verse 4, because this is what Satan came to do. And it tells you the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast him to the earth, and the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. So we know what? On the twofold king. We read earlier that what? Herod came to do what? To kill him, right? You know what I'm talking about? Herod wanted to take him out. But he also going to want to take out who else is the child. Remember he said, Israel is my firstborn and my son. We know he's talking about Yahshua, but also, you know what I'm talking about? It's combining his people one and the same, because we name after him. So what does it say? And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. So again, we know this talking about Yahshua. We know he was born to rule the nations with a rod of iron. Psalms 2, 7 through 12. We ain't going to read it for time's sake, but you know that's where that's at. This day thou art my son, I have begotten thee. After me thou shalt give the heathen for thine inheritance, and thou shalt rule them with a rod of iron, and thou shalt break them into pieces like a potter's vessel. And we know from when we dealt with overcoming, he that keepeth my works to the end, him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and break them into pieces like a potter's shiver, even as I received of my Father. You know what I'm talking about? And we know that where did he go at? This same Yahshua that was taken up from you, he shall return in like manner. Yet like I said, he said, he that knock, I knock, and you answer, and hear my voice, I cause you to sit down in my throne and overcome, even as I overcame and gave you the same spot. So we know what we're talking about. And it says and the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared of God, and they should feed her there 1,260 days. Now we know in Revelation 13, verse 8, it says the beast will have power over the saints to make war with them and destroy them, and he'll rule for 42 months. We go read Daniel 7, and it says this same little horn, this same beast, will prevail over the saints and overcome them. You know what I'm talking about? That 1,260 days is corresponding to what? 3.5 years. You read Revelation 11 and 1, he tells you the same thing. That there'll be a temple made, Gentiles gonna rule in it for a time and a half, 42 months, 3.5 years. Go read Daniel 7:25. The man say this man will think to change times and laws, and he gonna do this for 3.5 years. So what does that tell us? There's no 7-year tribulation period. There's no 3.5 years of peace. Then 3.5 years of tribulation. Because is this lining up with what we're seeing here? Absolutely not. Let's just make sure that it is Daniel 7:25. And just for the people's sake. Is that Daniel 7:25? Yes, sir. He shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and things to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time, and the dividing of the time. And like I said in verse 21, and I beheld the same Lord made war with the saints, and prevailed against them. You know what I'm talking about? And Revelation 13 and 8, because we buy it. Well, it's not verse 8, it's verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Revelation 11 says, and there was given unto me a rod like unto a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, rise and measure the temple of God and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall be tread under foot 42 months. So what can we ascertain from this? It's 3.5 years. You know what I'm talking about? And what does that go back to? We'll get to it in a second. We're going to go too fast. He said there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought. And his angels and prevailed not, neither was there a place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their own lives to the death. So what's that dealing with what we dealt with before, which we ain't really delved into it deeper, because we're going to deal with it when we get closer to Passover. You know what I'm talking about? With that blood of the Lamb. You know what I'm talking about? As we dealt with earlier, though, when he said you had to get to be redeemed, you had to bring that lamb to be redeemed. You got to have that blood of the Lamb to overcome, to be redeemed. And guess what? Then you ain't going to have no fear. What you going to do? You're going to have your confidence in God. You're going to do what? Stand steadfast. And you ain't even going to love your own life. Because what did he say? Greater love have no man than this, so that a man lay his life down for his friends. So let's drop on down to verse 13. And he said, when the dragon saw that she was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which was brought forth the man child. So he's talking about the persecution of this. Hold that. Go to Jeremiah 30, verse 5. It seems now every time I go to this verse, I think about when that young man told me that the Bible is not a word match yet. That's just funny to me. You know what I'm saying? I'll remember that as long as the Lord permits me to, because I found that very humorous indeed. It said, for thus saith Yah, we heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see whether doth a man travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. You hear that? Time of Jacob's trouble. And what's going to happen? He's going to be saved out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds. And strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, but they shall serve Yahweh their God and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yah, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest and quiet, and none shall make him afraid. You see that thing with that rest? And you see, he say you're going to say, serve the Father, and David your king. So what is this talking about? It's talking about when the Lord come back in. Because then he said in Matthew 24, there shall be great tribulation like has never been seen, and at that time I'm coming through. Because he said in the days of those tribulation, he said the sun will not give its light, and the moon going to be darkened, and the heavens going to roll up. You know what I'm talking about? You're going to see all this stuff, and then I'm coming through. You know what I'm talking about? We might just read that, but go to Daniel 12 and 1. Because we've been trying to set something up, and then we read in Daniel 7, we're going to be persecuted. Okay. Let me he's trying to make sure now. And you notice he just didn't say just anybody. He said the saints, the holy ones. You know what I'm talking about? Just because you are Israel don't mean you a saint. You know what I'm talking about? Because if you walking in the faith of God and perfecting holiness in the fear of God, then what that make you? Make you a saint, because you have set yourself apart in holiness. Daniel 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince will stand for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that's found written in the book. So you have the people, oh, that's talking about Michael, but he said the great prince. He called him the prince in Daniel 9, talking about the prince, the Messiah. He's called the prince in Ezekiel 44 and 45. It's called the prince in Acts the 5th chapter. We know he's coming with the heavenly host. You know what I'm talking about? Jeremiah 30 just told you the king coming to do it, and these people be dumb enough to make you think that it's Michael coming back to save us. You know what I'm talking about? Look at Matthew 24. I thank God for the truth. I thank God for his word. His word good, ain't it? You know what I'm talking about? It's a beautiful thing to have to understand what's going on. You know what I'm saying? You know ain't nothing worse to go sit down and look at a movie and you don't know what's going on. You just lost everybody enjoying it. You feel like a fool. Matter of fact, even better, a drama series. You know what I'm talking about? Let's say a show that come on week after week, and you done missed the first 3 episodes. Now you done came on through on episode 4, and everybody like this here love it, and you're like, ooh, I can't believe she just did that, and you wonder, what the hell are they talking about? You know what I'm saying? And then here you come, you don't know nothing. Somebody done told you, done came back for episode 5, somebody done gave you bits and pieces, and they didn't know what they were talking about. So now you done came here and made yourself look like a fool. And that's what people do with the word of God. You know what I'm saying? For real, man. Verse 21. He says, then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. Now we know verse 15, he said when you see the abomination of desolation, you got men that deep, by that death. But we know what that is. Paul already told us in 2 Thessalonians. You see this man standing in the temple and say he God. As it's already been prophesied of in Daniel 11, you know what time it is. You know what I'm talking about? But that's neither here nor there. That's another time for another thing. He said, except those days should be short, and there shall no flesh be saved before the elect say, those days shall be short. Now we know Isaiah 45 and 4 say Israel is his elect. You know what I'm talking about? And what does elect mean? You're chosen. You know what I'm saying? So that remnant that was chosen for salvation, he says, I'm going to come back and I'm going to save them. Look at verse 20 said. He says, for as lightning come out of the east and shine unto the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For so wherever the carcass is, the eagles will be gathered together. So let's look at Isaiah 27 and 12. We dealt with this when we dealt with Jerusalem, but we're going to deal with it again. He said, it shall come to pass in that day that y'all shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and you shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel. You know what he said? He said, did he just say something about gathering? What he said? Listen what he said. It shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown. What is that here? How many trumpets are there? There are 7. And what happens when the 7th is blown? The Lord has came back. And I had a grown man tell me that already happened. When the trumpet got blown, I missed it. I ain't heard it. I know the whole world would have testified about this. Yeah, man, we heard a great old trumpet, and people went to dying, and boy, the children of Israel got gathered up one by one. Hey, don't you think that would be a story told forever? You know what I'm talking about? Because they still telling the story of our redemption out of Egypt to this day. I'm talking about not people who even deal with the word. You got Hollywood telling the story. The story coming back home next month. Every year around Easter, they play that story. Because they know it's Passover time. You know what I'm talking about? They play that story. That is known in the whole earth till this day. Well, you had all them people around like, well, we heard about y'all. We don't want trouble. Them people in Jericho, when we came around, they said, man, look here, man, we heard about y'all. Man, Ray had the heart of these people trembling. Oh, like I told you, give it out like they said, man, we heard about y'all, man. You want no problem? These people gonna know. You think ain't nobody gonna be talking about that if that happened? Can't be done. But guess what? They sure find a way to let us know. Yes, you can. You know what I'm saying? Not yes, we can, because then we'll be saying thank you, Satan, like Obama. Yes, you can. Be that stupid. You know what I'm talking about? And he said, they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and in the outcast in the land of Egypt, and shall worship Yah in the holy mountain at Jerusalem. So they're talking about coming home. You know what I'm talking about? Back to Matthew 24. Ain't no way You know what I'm saying? It's just certain things that people just don't believe the scriptures. Because regardless of what, we know the Messiah is the Word, and He the one who gave the Word to the holy men aforetime, but we know that anything the Master say, or anything the Apostles say, shouldn't we be able to find it in the scriptures? Shouldn't we be able to get an understanding of it in the scriptures? So if you can't get an understanding of it in the scriptures, you got a major problem on your hands. He says immediately, verse 29, immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. So when he talks about the sun be darkened and the moon won't give a light, you can go see that in Joel 2, Joel 3. You know what I'm talking about? When he say that the heavens shall not the stars will fall from heaven and the powers of heaven shall be shaken, you can go see that in Isaiah 34 and 4. It's also mentioned in Revelation 6. And there shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. Then all the tribes of the earth mourn. They shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with great power and glory. Daniel 7, verses 13 and 14. About I seen one like unto the Son of Man coming in a cloud, and unto him was given a dominion and a kingdom. You know what I'm talking about? And he said it again in Matthew 26 when they asked him, are you the Messiah, the Son of God? Tell us plainly. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. Oh, man! Didn't we just read that? Satan sent him with a great sound of a trumpet. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the earth to the other. Going back to Revelation 12. Hallelujah for Yahshua, because didn't that confirm what the scriptures say? Now how did this already happen? And it's confirming what the scriptures say. That's not my personal opinion, was it? Didn't that just line up completely what Isaiah just said? I'm talking about almost word for word too. That's why you got to know the scriptures. That's why we spend all that time in the Old Testament like that. You know what I'm talking about? All right, where was that? 13. Thanks. And he said, when he saw that he was cast unto the earth and persecuted the woman, was brought forth the man-child, then the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she may fly to the wilderness into her place where she is nourished for a time and a time and a half a time from the face of the serpent. So let's look at Exodus 19. About verse 5, and you keep that them eagle's wing. You know God has showed you this before. God has showed you this before. You should remember, this shouldn't be nothing new to you. Verse 4. You have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. So when we go into the wilderness, who we getting brought to? We getting brought to God. And where we at, verse 5. He said, now therefore, if you obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine, and you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. These are the words which I shall speak unto the children of Israel. Ain't that what Peter said? Being a peculiar treasure and the kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Ain't that what Peter said? Now let's look at Revelation 5 and 9, and let's see that one more time. Because Lord willing, you know, he told us we was going to come back to that, he was going to hear it again. He got it back to us. Revelation 5 and 9. And they sung a new song, saying, thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wert slain and hast redeemed us to God by thy blood out of every kindred, tongue, people, and nation, and hast made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. So where are we going to reign at? So how do you go into heaven and the book say you're going to reign on earth? How do you get that? You know what I'm talking about? But the whole key thing is, what did he say we were redeemed with what? That blood of the Lamb. You know what I'm talking about? To be made back to being kings and priests, which the scriptures, which the law of Moses already testified that we were supposed to be from the jump street. You know what I'm talking about? Going back to that. And that's again taken back to them 3.5 years, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away with the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Yahshua the Messiah. So who is he coming for? That's letting you know what the saints is. It's the holy ones and how they holy ones. Because they got the testimony of the Messiah, and they keep the commandments. So how are you a saint and you don't keep the commandments? Ain't that going to be contrary to the book? Now let's go to Isaiah 66, because we didn't deal with this part here. When they were talking about the woman giving forth to a child. And he just brought that in my mind to go back there, because I hesitated and waited. And we supposed to went right.
So let me ask you this.
Go ahead, my friend.
If we're not going to heaven, where do these people get this stuff? Where do they get it out of the Bible that say we are?
They actually get it from men who tell them this, that really, I told them, because that's all I can say, because I ain't never been to a church.
I think from my perspective, the way I was trying in my mind was how the Lord kept saying the kingdom of heaven.
That's probably how they get it.
So they think the kingdom of heaven is the thing that they want, that's what they're going.
And probably the fact that because he ascended in, that they think they're going to. But it's also mainly just continuing of Greek and Roman mythology. That they taught that when you died, your spirit went here or it went there. You know what I'm saying? And then because these men are being taught of the slave master to teach the word, and then people are not investigating the word on their own religion. You know what I'm talking about? They just taking what they've been told. You know what I'm saying? I remember being in prison, clowning, not even knowing, like, man, I don't believe no rapture, nigga, ain't nobody, people floating up in the air. People in heaven around here bouncing around on clouds. I'm clowning these niggas hard. Thinking I'm being, like in my mind, back in my mind, one part saying, like, are you being blasphemous? And another part like, no, you're not. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know this stuff was not contained in here, but it seems so far-fetched. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, I don't know about this. I just have a feeling that the God of heaven and earth just don't operate like that. You know what I'm talking about? Especially considering everybody latching on to it. And if everybody's saying it, I know it can't be right. You know what I'm talking about? I know it can't be right. I didn't have no means at that time to justify myself. Now, don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? Just something inside of me said, I know this can't be right. There's no way. I just can't go for that. Grandma's looking down on me. You know what I'm saying? I just can't go for that. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't trying to be mean or nasty or nothing. I just couldn't go for that. I just couldn't go for Chandra looking at me right now. You know what I'm saying? How's she going to be looking at me and I've seen them put her on the ground? You know what I'm talking about? I just can't go for that. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, my homegirl, she ain't mean no harm. She was like, just go out there and talk to her. And I'd be like, for what? I'm going to be standing there talking to her headstone. That headstone go to talking back, I'm getting the hell out of here. Straight up. It's like, what the fool? I ain't even ask no questions. I'm gone. Don't be terrified. Because I know everybody out there dead. Shouldn't nobody be talking to me. I came out here by myself. You know what I'm saying? When people sit there and think about it, or somebody dead come up and talk to you, nigga, you gonna be so scared you gonna run. And if you ain't scared, I'm worried about you. You know what I'm saying? Well, I say that, as we just seen that there though, he's dealing with the persecution. And you saying that, okay, he's talking about that, he's saying he went to war with the remnant of us. So let's go to this Isaiah 66 and knock this out real quick. Verse 8, verse 7. He said, before she travailed, she brought forth, and before her pain came, she was delivered of a man-child. Oh, that's lined up, ain't it? Listen to what he said. Who have heard such a thing? Who have seen such a thing? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day, or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth children. So as soon as that persecution comes, you know what I'm talking about? It's detailed in Zechariah 13, Zechariah 12, Zechariah 14 a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? Talking about that. But she's going to bring forth children. What is that children? That's his firstborn. That's Israel. And obviously the firstborn of the firstborn is going to make his way there. Because that's what we just read. He said, shall I bring to the birth and not call to bring forth, saith Yah? Shall I call to bring forth and shut the womb, saith thy God? Rejoice with ye, Jerusalem, and be glad with her, all ye that love her. Rejoice with her, all ye that mourn for her, that you may suck and be satisfied with the breast of her consolations, that you may milk out and be delighted with the abundance of her glory. For thus saith Yah, behold, I will extend peace to her like a river, the glory of the Gentiles like a flowing stream, and they shall suck, and ye shall be borne upon her sides, and be dandled upon her knees. And as one whom his mother comforts, so will I comfort you. You shall be comforted in Jerusalem. You know what I'm talking about? So this is talking about what? It's talking about the master taking us home, is it not? You know what I'm talking about? Because he's saying I'm bringing forth the people to be born at one time. What happened when we came up out of Egypt? We were birthed as a nation. The nation of Israel came into fullness when we came out of Egypt. You know what I'm talking about? So this is talking about the same thing. When we come out, won't we be reborn as a nation again? To return back to the land from whence we left? Hallelujah for Yahshua. That would be kind of worthy to be there on that day. You know what I'm talking about? Because we done did all that we could do to stand. So with that being said, let's look at Ezekiel 20 and 33. No, we're not going to go there yet. Let's go to Isaiah 11 first. Because I want you to hear about that. We mentioned it. We want us to bring it back so we don't speed this up and end it. Isaiah 11, verse 12. Well, verse 11. And it says, it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people. You hear that? Say? The second time. So when was the first time? We've been reading it all night, right? So he said, I'm going to set my hand a second time to recover my people, which shall be left from Assyria and Egypt and Paphros, from Cush, from Elam, from Shinar and Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. So what that sound like? Everywhere out of the sky, man. Everywhere. And he said, he shall set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off, and Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. This goes back to Ezekiel 37, when he say, take the stick of Joseph in one hand with his fellow Ephraim, and the stick of Judah in the other hand, and bring them together, and make them one, and they shall be no more two kingdoms, but they shall be one kingdom, one nation and one people, and they shall serve David their king, and he called him a prince. And that chapter 2, and that goes back to John 10 and 16, when he said there are other sheep that are not of this fold that I must bring in, that it be one fold. You know what I'm talking about? Because why? Because when the kingdom split after the sin of King Solomon, what happened? They went to war. Like, what did they meet? Israel and Judah didn't meet in agreement. You know what I'm talking about? But what is he talking about? Ephraim ain't going to envy Judah no more. And Judah ain't going to vex Ephraim, and Ephraim ain't going to vex Judah, but they're going to be one. You know what I'm talking about? Which is what? That one body. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't no schism in the body of the Messiah. Continuing on. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines towards the west. They shall spoil them to the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. And Yah shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptians. See, with his mighty hand will he shake, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the seven streams, and make men go over dry shod. And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria like it was to Israel in the day that they came up out of the land of Egypt. So what does that sound like? What you just was looking at on the computer? A 5,000 mile land bridge where that water was separated and we gonna walk over it dry. Ain't that what he said? Ain't that what he did the first time? We just didn't read it in Exodus 14. And what he said? He gonna do it again. He's going to do it again. And I can't remember the exact verse in Isaiah at this present time, on the top of my head, where he talked about that he'll lead. Oh, there it is. Now I remember. Thank God in the name of Yahshua. Go to Isaiah 4. That's where it's at. Hallelujah to Yahshua. Look at verse 5. And it says, and Yah will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion, upon her assemblies, a cloud and smoke by day. Didn't we read that that's what they had by day the first time? So where they going to be at when they get this? Okay. And he said, and a shining of flaming fire by night. For upon all the glory shall be defense, and there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime from heat, and a place for refuge, and for a covert from storm and from rain. So isn't that I'm going to do the same thing again? Now how we going to miss this and sit here and say, oh, that's talking about this here, talking about that? Now you can see why he's saying when he's talking about the seven churches, now you can see why. You know what I'm talking about? And we know that when we dealt with Jerusalem, what he say in that third verse, shall come to pass, and he that is left in Zion, he that remains shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem. And if you're written among the living, what you written in? You written in the book of life. So if you written in the book of life, what you had to be? Born of God, who sins not, he cannot sin because his seed remain in him, because he's the saint, because he got the testimony of Yahshua the Messiah and keep the commandments of God. Look at Isaiah 35. I thank God in the name of Yahshua for his word. That's a beautiful thing right there. You know what I'm talking about? Because a lot of brothers will see that there and go way off somewhere else with it. You know what I'm talking about? But that man ain't talking about none of that. That man talking about the salvation of his people. Isaiah 35 and 1. He said, the wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. The wilderness was like that the first time. We was the problem. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it. The excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of Yah and the excellency of our God. Didn't we just see about that cloud of fire and cloud? Ain't we going to see the glory of God in the wilderness? Didn't that's what they seen in there, but yet they believe not? Didn't we just read that? So we know what? We can't follow after that same example when we see he did all these things for our fathers and they failed. Now he's going to do all these things for us. Are we going to follow after that same example? That's why Paul said this for your admonition. This was for an example, so that you don't fall in these same traps. He said, strengthen ye the weak hands and confirm the feeble knees. So we know we're going to be persecuted, right? We read that. So he said what? Strengthen the weak hands and you confirm your feeble knees. Listen to what he said. Say to them that have a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. And behold, your God will come with vengeance. Even God with the recompense, he will come and save you. So what is that going back to? What the master told you in Luke 18. He said, look here, I'm going to avenge you speedily. Nevertheless, will I find faith when the Son of God come upon the earth? He said, there's no need for you to be for of a fearful heart, because he coming. He gonna pay him back. He gonna save us. You know what I'm talking about? That's what you got to get in your mind. Stay on the pathway. Stay doing what you're supposed to be doing. He coming to see them people. All you got to do is stand. This is why the man say they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and they loved not their own lives, even unto the death. Listen to what he said. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, because if you couldn't see, that's why he say, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and perceive with their heart, and understand, lest they be converted. He said, if you're blind, I'm going to open your eyes and you can see the glory of God. Then he said, and he said, the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Now you'll be able to hear the word. You know what I'm talking about? And he said, the lame man leap as a hart, and the tongue of the dumb shall sing, for in the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert. Did he do that the first time? Oh, what did he say? And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water, and the habitation of dragons where each lake shall be grass with reeds and rushes. Hold this and look at Isaiah 43 and 18. Because he's going to tell you something. So listen to what he said. Isaiah 43 and 18. Remember ye not the former things, neither consider the things of old? Listen to what he said. Haven't we been looking at the former things, the things of old? He said, behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. The beasts of the field shall honor me, the dragons and the owls, because I give waters in the wilderness and rivers in the desert to give drink to my people, my chosen. This people have I formed for myself. They shall show forth my praise. But thou hast not called upon me, O Jacob, but thou hast been weary of me, O Israel. You know what I'm talking about? So we have to remember these things and think about that. Look it down at verse 25. He said, look at verse 24. He said, thou hast brought me, look at verse, matter of fact, we'll just do 20. He said, thou hast not brought me the small cattle of thy burnt offering, neither hast thou honored me with thy sacrifices. I have not caused thee to serve with an offering, nor wearied thee with incense. Remember that when he said in Jeremiah 7, I ain't told your fathers nothing about no burnt offerings and sacrifices. I told them obey my voice. That's what I told them. He said, even I am he that, he said, thou hast brought me no sweet cane with money, neither hast thou filled me with the fat of thy sacrifices, but thou hast made me to serve with thy sins. Thou hast wearied me with thine iniquities. He said, even I am he that blot out thy transgressions for my own sake, and will not remember thy sins. He said, put me in remembrance, let us plead together, declare thou that thou may be justified. And we're going to read that, keep that in your mind about that pleading together. He said, for thy first father hath sinned, and thy teachers have transgressed against me. And that's what we have been dealing with all night. So we know not to make that same error. You know what I'm talking about? Because he said, your first father sinned against me. They didn't trust in my salvation nor believe my word. Going back to Isaiah 35. He said he make a way in the wilderness. We read that in Isaiah 11. Let's look at Isaiah 35. And 8. And he said, a highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those wayfaring men. Though fools shall not enter therein. So we know ain't no fools get in the kingdom, ain't no unclean get in the kingdom. We know that Revelation 21 and 27. Nothing that work abomination or defiles will enter therein, nor anybody that make a lie. That's why he says, blessed are the undefiled in the way. What is that way? We just read it, right? It's holiness. There's going to be a highway there. So you can't get in. You know what I'm talking about? He said, no lion shall be there, no ravenous beast shall go upon thereon. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. We've been hearing about that redeemed. Those that have been redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, they gonna walk in the land. He says, and the ransom of Yah shall return and come to Zion with songs, and everlasting joy shall be upon their heads. They shall obtain joy, and gladness, and sorrow, and sighing shall flee away. Look at Isaiah 16 and 1. We're coming to a close here. So we can see it's almost 11. This part here gonna win for about 4 or 5 minutes. Almost, maybe not even that long. Nevertheless. Listen to what it says. See the lamb to the ruler of the land, and from Selah to the wilderness unto the mount of the daughter of Zion. This man says, send the lamb. So you know who they're talking about. This man says, send the lamb. For it shall be that as a wandering bird cast out of the nest of the daughters of Moab shall be at the fords of Arnon. Take counsel and execute judgment. Make thy shadow as the night in the midst of the noonday. Hide the outcast, berate not him that wander. So he's saying like this here, hide my people. We already heard him say they called us outcasts. He said, let my outcast dwell with thee, Moab. Be thou a covert to them from the face of the spoiler. So this talking about the dragon that come to persecute his children. You know what I'm talking about? That he gave a place for them to hide in the wilderness for 3.5 years. For the extortion is at an end, and the spoil will cease, and the oppressors are consumed out the land. And in mercy shall the throne be established. And we know what? Yahshua is grace and truth, right? Mercy and truth. And he shall sit upon it in truth in the tabernacle of David, judging and seeking judgment and hastening righteousness. Who gonna sit upon the throne out the house of David? You know what I'm saying? So you see this talking about him. That's without question. There was just something that jumped in my mind and it fell right out. Who's that there? Nevertheless. We'll bring it back in a minute. Go to wholesale second chapter. Start verse 4. Hosea 2:14. He said, therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably unto her. When did this happen? Hold, let's go to Ezekiel 16. Because now we're going to touch something, and it's going to touch another thing. Ezekiel 16. Oh, there we go. There we go. I'll say, verse 6. He said, when I passed by thee, and saw thee polluted in thy own blood, I said unto thee, when thou was in the blood, live. Yea, and I said unto thee, when thou was in the blood, live. And I have caused thee to multiply as the bud of the field, and hast increased. Thou hast increased and waxen great. Thou art become to excellent ornaments. Thy breasts are fashioned, thy hair is grown, whereby thou wast naked and bare. Now when I passed by thee and looked upon thee, and behold, thy time was a time of blood, I spread my skirt over thee and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, saith Yah, and thou became mine. So all this is dealing with is when he married us the first time. Because when you say you alluring somebody, you trying to entice, you know what I'm saying? Entice them to come to you. Because now he's talking about us as a woman. You know what I'm talking about? So going back to Hosea 2. And he said, I will give her a vineyard from this in the valley of Achor for a door of hope. She shall sing there as in the days of her youth, as in the day when she came up out of the land of Egypt. So now this is talking about what? This is talking about our redemption, isn't it? Because he said we're going to rejoice and sing like we did when we came out of Egypt. And it shall be at that day, saith Yah, that thou shalt call me Ishi, and thou shalt call me no more Bela. Ishi means husband. So what did he say in Isaiah 54? Thy Maker is thy husband. Yah of hosts is his name. The Holy One of Israel, the Redeemer of the whole earth, shall he be called. Or as he said in Jeremiah the 3rd chapter, the 14th verse. You know what I'm saying? O children of Israel, I am married unto you. You know what I'm talking about? So now he's talking about you going to call me your husband. You ain't going to call me Bela no more. You ain't going to call me the name of the man you've been cheating on me with. For I will take away the names of Balaam out of her mouth, and they shall be no more remembered by their name. Because what did he say? He's going to destroy all the idols out of the earth in that day. That's what he said in Isaiah the 2nd chapter. I'm going to destroy them all. They ain't going to be remembered. You people ain't going to talk about me. You ain't going to speak about it. He said, and in that day I will make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field and with the fowls of the heaven and with the creeping things of the ground. And I will break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth. And I will make them to lay down safely. So again, he's talking about making the animals not do anything, which is going back to the Garden of Eden. And then that's going back to Joel when he talks about turn the, what did he say? Turn the swords into plowshares. You know what I'm talking about? Or is he talking about in Ezekiel 39, burning all the weapons up for 7 years? You know what I'm talking about? The way the people dwell safely. And he said, I will betroth thee unto me forever. Yea, I will betroth thee unto me in righteousness and in judgment and in loving kindness and in mercies. I will even betroth thee unto me in faithfulness, and thou shalt know Yah. So what is this talking about if he's going to betroth thee? So what marriage is this talking about? Blessed are those that are called to the marriage supper of the Lamb. You know what I'm talking about? We'll read that real fast. Revelation 19. Verse 11. No, it's not verse 11. It's verse 7. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife has made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. And he saith unto me, Right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of God. So if you in the wilderness, what have you been called to? The marriage supper of the Lamb. You know what I'm talking about? Because didn't we just read the Lamb gonna be there? We just read that, didn't we? Okay. Just made it so now. Listen to verse 21. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will hear, saith Yah, I will hear the heavens, and they shall hear the earth. And the earth shall hear the corn, and the wine, and the oil, they shall hear Jezreel. And I will sow unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her that hath not obtained mercy. And I will say to them which were not my people, Thou art my people, and they shall say, Thou art my God. Ain't that what Peter said? When we was in 1 Peter 2nd chapter earlier, I know it was a long time ago. You know what I'm talking about? But ain't that what Peter said? That the people that were not a people shall become a people, and the people that did not have mercy shall have mercy. So now you know who he was talking about. And now you know where he was speaking that from. He was speaking from the prophets. You know what I'm talking about? Because he cast us off as a people. Because at the beginning of this chapter, he said, man, tell your wife, man, she ain't my wife, and I'm not her husband. You know what I'm talking about? Because you've been cheating on me. I don't want nothing to do with you. Ezekiel 20, verse 33, and we'll finish it at that. Oh yeah, that's one spot. We go to Deuteronomy 9 first. It's just one thing we want to get, because the same thing that applied then applies now. We just want y'all to hear this. Deuteronomy 9, verse 1. Hear, O Israel, thou art passed over Jordan this day to go in and possess nations greater and mightier than thyself, cities great and fenced up to heaven. A people great and tall, the children of the Anakims, whom thou know not, whom thou knowest, and of whom thou hast heard say, Who can stand before the children of Anak? Understand therefore this day that Yah thy God is he which go over before thee, as a consuming fire, he shall destroy them, and he shall bring them down before thy face. So thou shalt drive them out and destroy them quickly, as Yah has said unto thee. So he's going to do the same thing again like he did for them, but it's a key thing. Listen to verse 4. Speak not thou in thy heart after that Yah thy God hath cast them out from before thee, saying, For my righteousness Yah hath brought me in to possess this land, but for the wickedness of these nations Yah doth drive them out from before thee. Not for thy righteousness, or for the uprightness of thine heart, do thou go possess their land, but for the wickedness of these nations Yah thy God doth drive them out from before thee, that he may perform the word which he sware unto thy fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So we need to keep this in mind. Because of the wickedness of these people, he come to sin. But mainly for what? He swore on his name, right? I'm going to keep my word to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Understand therefore that Yah thy God give thee not this good land to possess it for thy righteousness, for thou art a stiff-necked people. You know what I'm talking about? He let that be known. Don't think I'm giving this to y'all because y'all righteous. Y'all some hard-headed niggas. Straight up. Because when you act in a manner unbecoming of God, you's a nigga. You know what I'm talking about? And we should be shamed. Like he said in Ezekiel 36, be ashamed for everything you done done. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up. He said, remember and forget not how thou provoked Yah thy God to wrath in the wilderness from the day that thou didst depart out of the land of Egypt, until you come unto this place. You have been rebellious against Yah. And Horeb you provoked Yah to wrath, so that Yah was angry with you to have destroyed you. We need to remember that. Let's look at Deuteronomy 8 before we get to the end of the table, because this is stuff we got to get to. Hold on, drop back down as I like to say, because we got to end the show. He just brought this to my mind. Look at verse 13. In verse 9, I'm sorry. Look at verse 13. He said, Further Yah spake unto me, saying, I have seen this people behold as a stiff-necked people. Let me alone that I might destroy them and blot their name from under heaven. I will make thee a nation mightier and greater than they. So I turned and came down from the mountain. The mount burned with fire, and 2 tables of covenant were in my 2 hands. And I looked, and behold, ye sinned against Yah your God, and made a molten calf. You turned aside quickly out of the way which Yah had commanded you. Look at verse 19. For I was afraid of the anger and hot displeasure whereof Yah was wroth against you to destroy you, for Yah hearkened to me at that time also. And Yah was very angry with Aaron to have destroyed him, and I prayed for Aaron also the same time. So you seeing what? An intercession. So he was going to kill Aaron. But Moses prayed for Aaron, and God heard Moses and hearkened to him. He said, I took your sin, the calf which you made, and burnt it with fire, stamped it, ground it very small, even to as small as dust, and I cast the dust thereover to the brook, and the sin out of the mouth. And at Taberah, and at Massa, and at Kibbutz, Hakavah, ye from Yah to wrath. Likewise, when Yah sent you from Kadesh Barnea, saying, go up and possess the land which I give you, then you rebelled against the commandment of Yah your God, and you believed him not, nor hearkened to his voice. So what is this telling you when you don't hearken to God and keep his commandments? What did he just tell you? You don't believe it. Hey, that's what he just said? Okay, now that's just to keep it official. Listen to what he said. You have been rebellious against Yah from the day that I knew you. That's heavy right there, isn't it? This man said you've been rebellious against the living God from the day that I knew you. You know what I'm talking about? And this people is still like that to the same self-said very day. Now look over here at Deuteronomy 8, verse 1. He said, all the commandments which I command you this day you shall observe to do, that you may live and multiply and go in and possess the land which Yah sware unto your fathers. And thou shalt remember all the way which Yah thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee, and to prove thee, to know what was in thy heart, whether thou would keep his commandments or not. So this is the whole point of the wilderness, past and future. To know what was in your heart, because you're going to be in a humbling state in that situation. You know what I'm saying? So this is how I'm going to be able to see when I strip you down to the lowest of the low. Matter of fact, hold that. That's what it was. Daniel 12 said. We coming back. And we're going to get this Ezekiel point in here. We got to go to Daniel 12 and 7. And to humble you to see, because like this here, we got to remember, when our forefathers were in the wilderness, did they have any extra set of clothes? But did their clothes wax on? Did their feet swell? Did their shoes go on? Everything that they needed was provided for. All you need to do is follow instructions. Daniel 12 and 7. He said, I heard a man clothed in linen which was upon the waters of the river. And when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that lives forever, it shall be for a time, times and a half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. So when he accomplishes to scatter us, all the power that we have, that when we humble ourselves, then Jeremiah 50 come to pass, that we're going to come with our heads down to the ground, asking where is the way to Zion, that we may join ourselves to Yah and a covenant that shall not be broken. You know what I'm talking about? So let's look at this here. So he says, and he humbled thee, and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knew not, neither did thy fathers know, that he may make thee know, that man do not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yah doth man live. You know what I'm saying? You live by Yahshua. Then Yahshua say, he that liveth and believeth in me shall never taste death. You know what I'm talking about? Job said, I esteem the words of thy mouth more than my necessary food. You know what I'm talking about? And that's what's going to happen that second time. And guess what? Same way they said we ain't had no cucumbers, leeks, and melons and fish. Niggas going to be like I had Big Macs and crab boils. And then well, they ain't going to say none stuff like that. Probably with the crab boils. Niggas like, man, I had hamburgers and I had fat steaks. And I had my polos and my Jordans on. Guess what? You ain't got none here now, nigga. I'm going to humble you down. See if you going to obey me or not, big baller. Miss Diva. Let me see how much a diva you going to be out here. You're a diva out here, you're dying tonight. You know what I'm talking about? You're a hustler and a ball out here, you're dying tonight. You know what I'm talking about? Because did he not drop their carcasses in the wilderness who believe not? Who are rebellious and disobeying? So guess what? He going to do it again. He says, listen to what he says. Thy raiment not wax old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell these 40 years. Thou shalt consider in thy heart that as a man chasten his son, so Yah thy God chasten thee. Therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of Yah thy God, to walk in his ways and fear. And then he chastened his own son. So why do you think he ain't going to chasten you? Didn't the Son of Man walk around here? Didn't the Son of God, didn't Yahshua himself? Didn't he say the birds of the air have nests, the foxes have holes? The Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. You know what I'm talking about? That was that chastening and the sufferings of affliction, so that he could be made perfect and be made the captain and author of salvation to all those that believe and obey on him. Because he said he will believe on that precious cornerstone, he will make no hate. He ain't going to be confounded. Nevertheless, Ezekiel 20 and 32, dog. Well, 33, I should say. As I live, saith Yah. So what does that mean? He's swearing on his name right here, right? Surely with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and with fury poured out, will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people, and I will gather you out of the country wherein you were scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. So what is this talking about? It's talking about the gathering of Israel right here. He said, I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Did he not plead with us face to face the first time? Listen to what he said. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith Yahweh. So what does that mean? If we are alive at that day, we got to get ready for that ain't. So that means what? We need to learn from what we dealt with tonight, to learn from the mistakes that our fathers made and not make them. You know what I'm talking about? That's what he's telling us. And this is what he said. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. Look at Daniel 9. Because he said, I'm going to bring you. And what does the rod symbolize? That's discipline. You know what I'm talking about? Because then he said, I'm going to rule you with a rod of iron. I mean, that's discipline. You're going to obey me. We look at Daniel 9 and 24. He said 70 weeks are determined upon the people and upon the holy city to finish the transgression, to make an end of sin, to make a reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. So what is this talking about? It's talking about Messiah, right? And he's saying that he came to finish the transgression, to offer his body for sins, to make an end of sins, because he that is born again does not do what? He does not commit sin. He cannot sin. His seed remain in him. He's born of God. Then he said to bring in everlasting righteousness. What is that? That's the Holy Ghost. Because then he said, by the knowledge of my righteous servant, he's going to justify what? Men. You know what I'm talking about? So that everlasting righteousness, that's that everlasting covenant. The Redeemer will come to Zion from all those that turn from transgressing in Jacob. And this is the covenant that I will make with them. The Spirit that is upon thee shall be upon them, and my word shall be in their mouth, and their seed's mouth from henceforth and forever. And to seal up the vision and prophecy and anoint the most holy. What did he tell the disciples when he rose from the dead? I came and I opened up the scriptures and showed them in the law of Moses and in the Psalms and in the prophets all things concerning me, and he opened up their understanding to understand the scriptures, that all this stuff is talking about me. You know what I'm talking about? So he said, now therefore understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks, the street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times. And after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the Prince shall come and destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood until the end of war, desolations are determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And what does 1 week symbolize? 7 years. And in the midst of the week shall he cause the sacrifice and ovulation to cease. So what does that mean? How long did he preach for? About 3.5 years. How long we going to be in the wilderness for? About 3.5 years. So he said he's going to confirm the covenant. So he's going to bring you under the rod and the bond of the covenant. Meaning what? You're going to come into the agreement. You're going to become one with the covenant. And we're going to hear what's going to happen to you if you don't. And he shall cause the sacrifice and ovulation to cease for the overspreading of abominations. He shall make it desolate, even to the consummation that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So going back to Ezekiel 20, listen to what he said in verse 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn. They shall not enter into the land of Israel. Ye shall know that I am Yah. So what did he say? Everybody that thought, I'm killing you. I will purge you, I'm going to kill you. And you're not getting in the land. He didn't say, as for you, O house of Israel, thus saith Yah, go ye serve every one his idols hereafter also, if you will not hearken unto me. But pollute ye my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols. And ain't that's what we did in the wilderness the first time? He said, don't bring that around here, because I promise you I'm going to kill you. He said, for my holy mountain and the mountain, the height of Israel, saith Yah, there shall all the house of Israel, all of them in the land, serve me. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings and the first fruit of your oblations with all your holy things. And I will accept you and your sweet savor when I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the country where you have been scattered, and I will sanctify, and I will be sanctified in you before the heathen. So what that means? I'm going to set my name back apart, and they're going to respect me. You know what I'm talking about? Because they're going to know y'all was the problem. It wasn't none of me. And he says, and ye shall know that I am Yah when I shall bring you into the land of Israel, into the country for which I lifted up my hand to give it to your fathers. And there ye shall remember your ways and all your doings. Wherein you have been defiled, ye shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for all your evils that ye have committed. And ye shall know that I am Yah when I have wrought with you for my name's sake, not according to your wicked ways, nor according to your corrupt doings, O ye house of Israel. Hallelujah for Yahshua for his word. And that's the end of that. Y'all got any questions?
Yeah, I got one.
Go ahead.
Now is this, when we go to the wilderness study time, is this like before the coming? Or is this like after the coming?
You got one, well, like you said, that refuge, that's like before. You know what I'm talking about? But when he get back here, before we can actually enter in, we've got to go in there and do the same thing before. Because we didn't go straight in the land the first time. You know what I'm talking about? He sat with us and dealt with us. In fact, he said that. Look at Exodus 23 real quick. About verse 1. Because you can see he's talking about, when we read Revelation 12, he's talking about at the time of tribulation going in. Then when you read it in the other ones, he's talking about the salvation of the people. You know what I'm saying? But before we actually physically enter into the land, we got to, there's got to be some straightening. But look what he's saying here in verse 20. He said, behold, I send the angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Now, we just dealt with this Wednesday. You heard him deal with that Wednesday, didn't we? I'm talking to you.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm saying, I'm just talking about this verse because he dealt with it Wednesday. Okay, so we were talking about this, and remember how he said, there's going to be a way, and to keep you in the way, and all this here, what we've been hearing all night? You heard what he said? Behold, I send the angel before thee to keep thee in the way, to bring thee in the place which I have prepared. He said, beware of him, and obey his voice, provoke him not, for he will pardon not he will not pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. And is it not the name of the Father and the Son? So who was that leading them in the way the first time? That was Yahshua. So who's going to be leading us in the way the second time? Then we read that in Isaiah 16. So that means, I understand what you're saying. You can see Revelation 12 is talking about during the time of tribulation, I'm going to hide some of my people. But some of them are still going to be out here, and the dragon and the beast is going to persecute them. You know what I'm talking about? But when he gets back here, before we literally enter into the land, all of Israel gets gathered up. Go ahead.
So is it safe to say it's like, cause that's, with the refuge, it's not necessarily the wilderness to prove you, it's just to keep you from harm's way, and then once you get here, we're going into the actual wilderness.
Because see, obviously you can tell from Revelation 12, I'm not pleading with you face to face now. Because remember, he said the remnant of her seed going to be persecuted by the dragon. So you know what I'm talking about? So you know they ain't getting played with face to face if some of y'all here and some of y'all getting warred against. You know what I'm saying? And then just going by chronologically from Revelation 12, you know he ain't been saved yet. Because the next chapter talking about the beast and the 42 months he got in the reign, which we talking about the 42 months was mentioned in that chapter, and in the chapter before that. And then we know until about Revelation 15, that's when he come on the cloud with the sickle. You know what I'm talking about? When he get that vision of forfeit or whatnot, but we know each time we heard about us going there, what was he talking about? The ransom of y'all, the redeemed. You know what I'm talking about? Those that were gathered from the four corners, they gonna come, because just like he did the first time. Everybody who wasn't holy that came out of Egypt the first time. So what did he did? Separated the chaff from the wheat from the tares. You know what I'm talking about? And that's what he said in Matthew 13. I'm gonna gather and come up, and the wheat from the tares, I'm going to separate them. Or Matthew 25, I'm going to put the sheep on my right hand and the goats on the left. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm going to tell the one on my right hand, come in here, blessed of my Father, and enter into the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. But to the goats, enter ye in the everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels. You know what I'm talking about? Because he's going to do the same thing over again. Because there might be some people who may have never, remember what he told, our God is just. You know what I'm talking about? So it's some of Israel that may not have had an opportunity to even know of God to be taught of them. And he's going to give them that opportunity in the wilderness. You know what I'm talking about? And they might be humbled in themselves and say, you know what? I'm going to grow. You know what I'm talking about? And it's going to be some that's going to walk. You know what I'm talking about? Probably that could be a large amount, could be a small amount. A lot of them going to be killed before they get there anyway. You know what I'm talking about? But it's just the same thing. We just heard him say he swore on his name, he's going to plead with us face to face. Ain't that what he said? So what that mean? He gonna plead with face to face, right? And he said he gonna purge out the rebels and the transgressors, right? So whoever walked in this wilderness to experience this time, it's gonna be the same as those that walked the first time. That's why you notice that he mentioned that a lot in the epistles in certain places about what they did. You know what I'm talking about? For you to remember that. Because none of us know which generation is gonna be that enter into it. You know what I'm talking about? But as we can see from the signs going on around us, it's looking like we the generation that's going to enter into it. You know what I'm talking about? So therefore, we got to know that, be mentally and spiritually prepared to handle what's going to come to pass. Because a lot of people see that part from the wilderness part, they just thinking, oh, we got to flee there for the refuge. You know what I'm talking about? When it is bigger than just a refuge. You know what I'm saying? Because whether you get there for the refuge part or no, if you're alive, you still go. You know what I'm talking about? And you got to have it in your mind to be right, irregardless. You know what I'm talking about? That if you go on the refuge side, or if you go when you get here, because if you already got a mind to obey and you trust him, it ain't going to be no problem for you. You know what I'm talking about? But if you don't have one, you most likely are not getting in the land. You know what I'm talking about? Because if you come in with a carnal mind and a sinful mind, and this ain't on your mind to work the works of God, you're not going to do it in the wilderness. You're going to do like they did. You're going to murmur and complain. You're going to be like, can you get us some water? I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to end up getting cut off. You know what I'm talking about? And it's the same thing. Because we dealt with it. That's why he confirmed it to me, because he had it in my mind, because little mother wanted to notice here. And when we was on the radio show, dude asked a question about that, you know what I'm talking about? Which was further. And then he wanted me to sprinkle in a little bit of the rock. And the dude went to talk about that. Me and him had a conversation about that. And we had already had it in the mind to do something on the rock of Israel. He put that in the mind. And more than likely that'll be coming either next week or the week after. Who knows? He knows. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? But this is what we have to realize and understand. You know what I'm talking about? That immaterial of the wilderness, we need to be right. You know what I'm talking about? If we counted worthy to get into the wilderness during the time of tribulation, blessed be you. If you counted worthy to die for the word of God, blessed be you. You know what I'm talking about? It's a beautiful thing either way. Either way you get in the kingdom, right or wrong. Because if you counted worthy to be in that place of refuge, you got to be holy. You got to have the mercy on you. Look at Zephaniah 2. I'll show it to you. I think it's Zephaniah 2.
So in the dragon persecution, he's going to kill you there, right?
Absolutely. Because remember, we read that in Daniel 7. He got in Revelation 13 lining up with that. He's going to be able to prevail over the saints. So what does that mean?
He's going to judge you right there and then. If you
it ain't even no judgment. He's going to have power over the whole earth. Just a mass dictator, like Hitler on a million scale, like Stalin on a million scale, like Mao Zedong on a million scale, the dictator of all dictators.
Alright, so that comes first. Yeah. And then that's when he comes back, then that's when we go to the wilderness.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Now you see how they play.
So it's like actually going to be, like the people that make it, it's going to be like trickled down to the...
Yeah, some people going to be counted to beat up. Some people going to still be out here standing on the word. You know what I'm talking about? Preaching the word. And they going to get slaughtered. Because he already said he's going to go to war with the remnant of our seed. You know what I'm talking about?
So that would be the refuge stage of the wilderness. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? As we heard that, right? About that refuge. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to hide some of y'all there. You know what I'm talking about? Not everybody, but I'm going to hide some of y'all.
So then at what point does it turn from refuge to being approved? Okay, so when you get here, that'll go from refuge stage to you being approved.
Because remember, every time it mentioned, like we just read at Ezekiel 20, he said, when I gather you out of the country. So remember when we read Jeremiah 30 about the time of trouble, then I'm coming. When we read Daniel 12, or when it say Jacob trouble, when we read Daniel 12 about the time of trouble, then I'm coming. And what the master said, and during the days of that tribulation, then I'm coming. You know what I'm saying? And then I got to take you, because I can't bring you straight in the land.
So would it be safe for me to think like he gonna lead us by a cloud by day and a fire by night? So is it safe to think, because what my mind's hanging at is the fact that after we come back, we're going into the wilderness. But we know when he's coming back just as he was when he left. So if he's coming back just as he was when he left, I'm trying to figure out how to articulate this. Will he lead us by a cloud in refuge stage, or will he lead us by a cloud?
And probably might be in both. He don't say it there, but when we read it in Isaiah 4, we've been delivered. You know what I'm talking about? Because remember, he said, everyone that is holy, that's written among the living in Jerusalem, shall be called holy. You know what I'm saying? And that's talking about his coming. You know what I'm talking about? And we just read that in Isaiah 16, he leading the way. That's how he gonna do it. But look at this here, and this ties with what he said in Revelation 2. Zephaniah 2:3 says, Seek ye Yah, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be ye shall be hid in the day of Yah's anger. So when we read that, now you see why he say this here. This is talking about the refuge stage up in hiding in the wilderness in Revelation 3 and 10. First we'll read Revelation 2 and 10. He says, Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried. And you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So when we read that, we jump over here to Daniel 9, if I'm not mistaken. Is it Daniel 9? Or is it Daniel 11? It's Daniel 11. Daniel 11.
So basically all you're saying is we just gotta be right. Because everybody gonna get a different stage of everything. We all gonna get tried to see if we really
gonna obey.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
Look at Daniel 11 and 32. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries, but the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits. This is talking about that man of sin. They that understand among the people shall instruct many, yet they shall fall by the sword and by flame and by captivity and by spoil many days. Is that not what the master just said? Don't fear none of the things the devil's going to do to you? And it says, and now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries, and some of them of understanding shall fall to try them, and to purge, to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet a time appointed. So when we hear that, let's look at Revelation 6, verses 10, verses 9, and it says, And when he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altars of the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and the testimony which they held. Is that not what we just read in Revelation 12 and 17? And he says, And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Yah, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given to every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled. And that's jumping over to Revelation 7, what we dealt with last week, where they say they washed their robes and they were made white in the blood of the Lamb. Because some of us might have to shed blood for the word. Holy and righteous men have always been killed for the word. When the church was first being established, did they not persecute the members of the church and slaughter them? Was not Peter slaughtered? Was not all the apostles murdered and killed for the word? So we have to know and understand that aspect of it too when things pop off and get ugly, that some of us may have to die for standing on the word and be mentally prepared to deal with that. Revelation 3 and 10. He said, Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly, hold fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. You know what I'm saying? So that's what he's talking about, hiding you in the day of temptation, which we just read in the scripture saying, which we just read in Revelation 12. When that come upon the earth and this man come and do all these signs and wonders, some people are going to be tempted to bow down to the beast. Right or wrong? Mm-hmm. Some people are going to be tempted to take the mark of the beast or the mark of his name. You know what I'm talking about? So some will be hid and they won't have to deal with that. You know what I'm talking about? That's what it's talking about. You know what I'm talking about? But at the end of the day, as we read in Jeremiah 30 and all that, but when he gets back here, where we got to go as a people? The same thing that happened when we were took out of captivity the first time, because I got to prove it.
Okay, let me ask you this thing. I get where it's going. So basically the ones that's going to be hid is the ones that were already like
no, just like he said in Exodus 33, I have mercy upon whom I have mercy, and I have compassion on whom I have compassion. The Father is the reason the one to know. He knows why he's going to choose to have grace and mercy on an individual to put them in the wilderness. There's no set requisite things that they may have done other than have faith and obedience. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. That he chose to put them there. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's up to him. Because there's some of them, he might be put out there for a stronger testimony that not that they were unworthy to go, but that he know that they will stand stronger and stand and forces that they are willing to die for his name. You know what I'm saying? Which is the greatest testimony of all. That you're willing to lay. That's why he said they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and loved not their own lives, even to the death. That's the same thing with the apostles and many holy and righteous men who no testimony was left behind them, where they wasn't given an everlasting memorial. You know what I'm talking about? There were many holy and righteous men from the days of old, before the Messiah and after the Messiah and the time of the apostles, who were willing to die, who were willing to shed their blood for God's word, for His name's sake. You know what I'm talking about? That's why He said your fellow servants and of your brethren, they got to die too. You already told him, He said, rest for a little season, be at peace. I'm going to come see Him. Don't worry about it. Everybody said, Lord, how long? How long? He said, just chill, my child. Just chill. I'm coming to see Him. It's all right. Just rest. You chilling. You ain't got to worry about nothing. You know what I'm talking about? You got your reward. You got your crown. You got your white robe, that fine linen, which is the righteousness of the saints. You got your palm. You got your place in my kingdom, because you stood. You know what I'm talking about? It's just some of them, hey man, I'm going to bless y'all. I'm going to keep y'all from that. Y'all ain't even going to have to deal with it. It might not be because you might not have been strong enough to deal with it. For reasons known to the Father, you ain't going to have to deal with it. You know what I'm talking about? That's why He said, man, you kept my word of patience. I'm going to keep you from the temptation. You know what I'm talking about? But when I get back here, all y'all coming. Because I got to purge out the rubber. I got to bring you under the thorn of the cone. You understand? Everybody cool? Well, let's keep it.
It's going to be hard when it really kicks off.
No, that worked out for you all night. All right then. I know nobody will see. Seems like an old person.